Welcome YouTube. My name is Juice.
And I'm Antoine de Miller.
And I'm Charles.
Today's topic is what is the appropriate level of responsibility does a parent or father have on their children's future? Man, that's a loaded one. Antoine, I'm gonna let you lead with this one, man.
Okay, so great question. I know you and we kind of have somewhat of a disagreement when it comes to the level of effort we put into our kids versus they put into themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, kids are for a purpose, and that purpose is to serve my legacy, not just this generation, not just the second generation, but I would say like three generations, right? And I figured if I focus at a minimum three generations ahead, and my son takes over focus in three generations ahead from him, we're planning deep into the future, right? And we're trying to build something. Uh, Me as the foundation, he builds upon that, and his son builds upon that, and hopefully, we build something huge, never seen within our family, right? So that's how I look at it. So the level of support and effort I put into him is not just me supporting him, but hopefully he passes that down also. He puts in the same effort and we build something huge, not just mediocre or small, but huge. So I have a vested interest in his success because it serves the overall bigger plan. So I'm going to do a little bit more, right? It's not just going to, it's not just going to be, hey, make sure you're successful. It's going to be, hey, make sure you're successful. What are your plans? Right? And if it sounds a little bit crazy to me, I'm going to give you, we're kind of going to go through the plans. We're going to talk about the risks, and we're going to talk about how to mitigate those risks. And we're also going to talk about how to reduce the negative impact on, that he can possibly face and what he can possibly face. Right? I'm going to do a little bit more. I'm not going to give or try not to, because of course, once he becomes of age, my influence, it's going to win a little bit more, right? He's going to want to take charge of his own life a little bit more. Uh, but hopefully he sticks to the overall grand plan, right? It's not, he doesn't have to go exactly left, right per me, but if he's going to go right, left, it has to lead to the same result, which is success and building upon the foundation that I provide. So I am going to be a little bit more forceful and, always in his ears guiding him.
What about for the girls?
For the girl, I don't want it to sound sexist, but boys add to the father's legacy, and girls are alliance building, right? Like girls build a legacy of her husband's father, right? Because when she leaves, she marries her husband. Somewhat she's under his leadership, and he has his own plans. Whether it's his plan or his father's plan, that's his legacy.
I agree with that. I want to say something, if you don't mind. I have three daughters, and one of them is 20 years old, so she's of age of starting to make her own decisions. So even for me, even when she was growing up, I have a plan. But again, I have daughters, and I agree with you as far as the. I don't think it's sexist at all as far as the male and female dynamic. However, I'm still guiding my oldest in that same kind of manner. I'm pretty much like, hey, what's your plan? Because from my standpoint, I don't want to have a woman out here that isn't that helpmate, that isn't in the line, that doesn't know how to be that partner in somebody else's legacy, because that's a direct reflection of me as well. So
Yep.
her having the opportunity to be successful on her own, it's still important to me. so she can be able to be aligned with somebody else and be able to be somebody that has a conscience and say, hey, let's do it this way because I understand what your legacy plan is. Let me be here to be that backbone for you. So I think it's twofold, whether it's a son or a daughter, but there are differences. So I understand where you're coming
Mm. Well, I have a little pushback, but I'm in the same boat with him. My pushback with him is just the point that I guess from my perspective is I don't want to, I guess, point direction where my son should go unless he asks me. And it's also different when he's staying in the home with you compared to not staying in the home with you. You know what I'm saying? So if he was staying in the home with me, yes, I'll be pointing direction that I would like to go, but at the same time, also let him develop a plan. You know what I'm saying? But the point I definitely agree with him is about building a legacy. The thing I'm hung up on is that sometimes you pour too much in your children and you think you got it under control to a point where that they want to go do their own thing and they deviate for the plan. They went with your plan for as long as they can't go with it. Then they say, you know what, I want to do my own thing. But like he said, as long as into the same goal. But at the same time, when they on their own, man, they on their own. And all you can do is lead by example.
from. Well, I think that's where positioning comes in because they're their own humans regardless.
Yes.
I have a military background. I run my household with a tight ship. And all my daughters do is laugh at me like, yeah, okay, whatever. They're their own person. My two babies, they're extremely young, but I'm using my oldest daughter for example. My job is to just give her the tools and put her in position to make her own decisions. Now,
Yeah.
when it comes to that positioning, do I nudge and put her in certain places that I know are beneficial? Absolutely. Are there
Mhm.
certain things where she comes to me and says, I want to do this, this is a great idea, and somehow, some way I find a way for it not to be and position her in another place? Absolutely.
Mhm.
But the decision making within that positioning completely falls on that child. So
Yes.
Yeah,
and I think we also have to define what success is. I know we mentioned in these conversations, like to be successful at the end of the plan, and whose success is that? Because eventually we're gonna check out of here. None of this lifetime is gonna be permanent, so they're gonna have to be able to be comfortable living with their self too. I focus on not being resented by any of my children. I am going to do my absolute best to put you in position, but if you make a dumbass decision, then hey, you can never say you didn't have the tools. My job is to provide you with every resource possible so you can succeed on your own. If you fumble that, it's your life. I'm gonna check out of here at some
Mhm.
point. So that's kind of how I stand on it.
Yeah,
and
I know. Oh, go to. Let me comment on this. Like, see, between what you're saying, I agree with you 100%, but to a certain point. What me and him disagree at is, I guess, from my perspective, I want my kids to show me that that's what they want to do or whatever they want to do. Like, for example, going to college. You do your first 3 years. Now, how you paying for college? You got to figure that out. On that last year, I got you. But the first three, you got to show me that you want it. So that's what me and him different
oh,
from. We'll go
yeah,
on, Antoine.
yeah. Here's my pushback on that, right? Because I know within our group we are obsessed with making sure each generation have some level of grind or putting in work or somewhat, you know, suffering to earn it, right? But what we're doing there is every generation we are resetting, right? So it's I put in the grind, I suffer, I know what hard work is, but that should be a foundation. That should not just be my entire life, right? That should be a foundation building so that my son can build upon something, not for him to also come and have to put in and work and suffer and grind just for the sake of it, right? It has to be a building block. My life hard, his life should not be as hard and difficult as mine. But that was the whole purpose of my life, right? And then he does the same thing. The idea is to get to the 10th building block. But if every single generation we put them in a position where they are also digging out of a hole, and when they get to their level, let's say they're in their old age and they finally get to the level ground, instead of letting their son build upon that level ground, we say to our sons, no, you also have to dig out of your own hole. And here's the thing: there is no, I don't understand. You want to teach them hard work, you want to make sure they don't squander what you're giving them, but you got to give them something. You can teach them hard work while giving them a foundation to build upon, because all you're doing is resetting each generation. So you can say, if you're whispering in their ears and you're guiding them along, you, when they get to 18 years old, you should have an idea if they want college or not. Like, you should have an idea that influence should be there, and you should be assessing their strength and their weakness, right? So they don't have to now come again to prove another 3 years if they're worthy of college or not. When they get to 18, you should have already assessed that, their strength and their weakness. So you're paying for that college because you've already assessed, okay, he's going to college, he can handle it. Let me go through with it. Because, and here's the thing, when you are giving your kids a leg up in this world, there is a historical fact that it works, right? But to constantly have each generation reset and digging themselves out of their own hole, it does not work. It does not work in the long term.
I get where you're coming from with that, but here's what I have to say, because I agree with you 100%. The reset is completely unnecessary. I hate the term grind. I hate the term hustle. I'm first generation to do anything in my family, pretty much. And again, my oldest daughter is in college right now. My job was to make sure I wouldn't. Again, we're talking about the difference between male and females too, but again, positioning is key. I put my daughter in position and taught her early so she was able to have a full ride scholarship so she could make the decision if she wanted to go to school or not.
Wait, let me
So
ask you this question.
go
On
ahead.
that full ride, how she went about going doing it? Did you help her in doing it, or she went and got it herself?
I helped her. I had to position her. Now there are
Mhm.
certain things that daddy is there for. Like, hey, I'll sit here and help you look up these scholarships. I'm not writing your essay, but you're a
Yeah.
child. There's only certain things that you're going to know. I'm coming with years of wisdom over you, so you can't possibly know what I know. But my job is to facilitate positioning and direction. I could say, here's a list of 100 scholarships, apply.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
on you to apply. I'm not going to do it for you,
Mhm.
but I'm definitely going to put you there. So I'm not. So even if you didn't, even if the scholarship wasn't there, and you say you want to go to school, I'll pay for that first year. I
Mhm.
won't. I won't. It doesn't make any sense to pay for the last year. I don't want you to be struggling if you don't have to. Because so that's where I kind of agree on the other end as well. It's like, hey,
Absolutely.
if this is what you want to do, then I'll pay for it. But if I was doing my job, in my opinion, I've positioned you for this since middle school anyway. So
Exactly. Yeah.
you were right when you said by 18, you should already have an assessment on your child, whether that's something they're passionate about or not. So along that journey, you should be already kind of nudging them in certain directions and putting them in people who are already college graduates and let them go to speaking opportunities so they learn how to carry themselves in certain ways. So when they hit that college campus, they're already prepared from what daddy had put them through beforehand.
Yeah.
Mm. Now
Absolutely.
see, my difference is my grind is the point of, like you said, you giving them the tools for them to go execute whatever they need to go done, need to get done. Excuse me. Now, what I mean by that is, like I say, I could set you up for you to look for scholarships, but I'm not doing the writing, right? I could set you up to say, all right, tell me what you want to do. I can put you in the direction to do it. You still have to put in the work to do it. I can't do it for you. Now, I can show you the path, but you got to walk it. That's what my perspective from on that. As for her paying for school or something like that, if you do your part and go look for some scholarships, then you pave your own way. It's too much money out there for me to give it up because you didn't do your part. All
Agreed.
I'm saying, meet
Let-
me
let me-
halfway. That's
let
all
me
I'm
ask you
saying.
this.
Meet me halfway.
Let me ask you this: if you had enough disposable income, would you pay for the full college?
No.
Why not?
Once again, meet me halfway. Because
No, but-
then at that time, let me tell you why. Because when most kids, when they come up like that, they feel entitled.
I don't know
But you,
about
but,
that.
but,
They-
but,
I-
you but you understand, right? You would be giving them a leg up on this world if you remove that financial obstacle from their path.
I'm gonna give them a leg up just by giving them my knowledge of what I know and everything else. Like, not granted.
Yeah, but
Now, would
you're
I help
doing-
them out? Would I help them out some other kind of way? Yeah, but at the same time, I don't feel like I'm starting all over if I'm letting them fit a little work ethic into that. You know what I'm saying? I don't
Yeah,
want
but
them to
there's
think that
other
everything
ways.
is.
But
Huh?
there's other ways you can teach that worth ethic. Because here's what you're doing, right? Here's what you're doing. Other groups are going to do that. Other groups are going to remove that financial obstacle that we know has a huge impact on the future of kids. When kids have to go to college, especially if you're going after some of these more tougher engineering programs, scientist programs, those things are hard. It is difficult. So if you can remove that financial aspect of it, it helps them get better grades in school, and it helps them guarantee to pass those courses, because it's not easy. There's nothing wrong. You're not teaching them a
But
lesson.
once again, we
But
still
that's-
forgetting about the part of why. All I'm saying is this: if you want to go to school, you can go by playing basketball, volleyball. You go get your own scholarship. That's what I'm saying. Y'all missing that key point. That's the
Yeah,
part.
but
What I'm saying is that's the
I
part I'm
don't
saying. They
think
can go
so.
on
No,
work on
you're-
that or get a scholarship.
No, you're making it sound as though you're making it sound as though it's sports, scholarship, or you're on your
Mhm.
own. You're
Yes.
completely removing your role in there. It's sports, scholarship, or parents, or alone. Because look at it this way: if they're not getting help from their parents, right,
Mhm.
and they got to go, let's say, take out a loan, right? Before that's already in a hole.
Yep.
They're gonna have to spend a lot of financial time now repaying that loan versus making investments.
But that's preventable, though. We still, like I said,
It's not
that's still preventable. That is preventable.
okay. You
Well-
get a bachelor's degree. You want to go get a master's or a PhD. You got to get a loan out.
If that not go get a master's, I'll help them out. I'm gonna say I have no problem helping them out because they
See, I think that's a little bit backwards, Juice. Because my thing is this: I think for one, it's all situational. If they're
Mhm.
not scholarship contenders, and I don't have the financial means, then I can somewhat agree with you. You have to definitely meet me halfway. If I have the financial means for my child, any of my children, to not have to pay for college, scholarship or not, even if they didn't, I'm paying for it 100%.
Hold on. No, now you just say this. Hold on. Let me just say this. You say if you're not scholarship potential, but if you've been leading them the whole way and been edging them, why they not scholarship potential?
Because we're in the education system that is test based. Look,
Oh,
I
okay,
didn't.
okay. Then. So with that being said, I get you. With that being said, when they leave your household and they go to the college,
Right,
you don't know what the expectation gonna be out there. You don't
I
know.
do. Is this a hypothetical, or are you asking me personally?
No, I'm just saying you don't know because whatever school you go to, Georgia Tech, whatever school, you're not in that class. Your kid in that class. So
True.
they're in a whole new environment. They're not under your roof. So they got to figure it out on their own.
So wouldn't you want them to?
I'm guarantee you they're not thinking about how I'm going to pay for college when they're in that class.
You're
You don't
right,
know that,
and
though.
that's
You
why
don't- you
I
don't
should
know.
shoulder that responsibility.
Mm-hmm. But
You're
all I'm saying at the end of
100%
the day,
right.
all I'm saying at the end of the day is that if we edging our kids and pushing them and line them up right, why we can't work on getting some money right then and there before going into that situation?
You can,
have
you could put them in the right direction, but I'll even use myself for example. I didn't have a scholarship, and I
Mhm.
was a decent student. I tested real average though, and I was just a decent student. I
but
got
did you
straight
did
A's
anybody
all
lead
through, but
but
through
anybody
college,
led you though?
huh?
But anybody led you to look for scholarships, stuff like
Nah,
that? Or
I
you
was
just
on my own. That's what I'm
exactly,
saying.
but you know now though, because the tools you learn from now. So you say, hey, I didn't get any scholarship, but I heard from such and such. Look at these different programs to get you some scholarship, get you scholarships to get some money. Because
Yeah,
you know
Right.
better
but
now. You know what I'm saying?
but
So now you're a generation up from the last point. Because like you said, using your tools, correct?
True. But what
That's
I'm
all I'm
saying
saying.
is,
Hold on.
I have all that. Let that be as it may. I have all that. But if I have the financial means and my child still didn't get a scholarship, I'm paying for a full ride if they got admitted into the school. If I had the financial means. Because
yeah,
why would I want to put them in position to stress and struggle even more when I have the
exactly.
opportunity to put them above where I was?
Hey, I
Exactly.
would say this.
That,
So here's my thing. Here's
that
my
is my
thing.
whole
Did you
point. It is
think about financial
unnecessary.
aid during the time you in school, when you was in
I
school,
had
in
to.
college?
I had to.
Okay.
In my position, I had to.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's like if I went through it, am I making my kids go through it just because I went
Hell
through it?
no. I don't
You
want my
know,
kids to do anything that
exactly.
was a struggle for me. Why would I want my child to struggle?
Exactly. And this is what I'm saying. So much in our community, so much of us in our community, they stress with this unnecessary. If I struggle, my kids also have to struggle because it's teaching them something. Now, I understand work ethic, morals, you have to teach them, but you can teach them those things while giving them a leg up on this world.
You can't teach work ethic though, man. They gotta feel that on their own.
So let me interject in this point,
Yeah.
and I want to say this. I've been fortunate enough to my kids have a way softer life than I did.
Okay.
And I battle back and forth on like, because it, and again, I have all girls, so those are my princesses, man. You know how it is. It's like those are your babies. But I see things in them where it's like, damn it, that would have never happened if it was me. So I understand that struggle as far as like you want them to be in positions to build up that resiliency. That's probably the best term that I have. But at the same time, there's different ways to do it if you're in a teaching position. I would
Yes.
never have my oldest daughter walk through the same footsteps I did if I know how to navigate out of it now. The
Absolutely.
reason why I had to is because I was the first. I didn't see it. I didn't have any guidance. So now that I have the guidance and the wisdom to teach her, why would I watch her take that same horrible direction if I can help it?
But that still go back to what I'm saying. You using your tools. Once again, everything you experience, you using your tools for your daughter from the see. Now, granted, some kids be like, all right, Dad, I hear what you're saying, but I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it. And when they do mess up, be like, I told you so.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
still
but
gonna make that own decision.
you keep looking at it from the negative. Even if
Uh,
you want to go 50-50, you can say, yeah, 50% they're gonna listen to you, or 50% they don't listen to you. But
yeah,
you keep harping on them not listening to you. You see
I
what
ain't
I'm saying?
harper on that. I just use that for example,
Yeah.
just now.
No, it's like, look, we have an obligation
Yes.
to make life better for our kids than we had it.
We already surpassed that right
that is a
now.
rule. That is a rule, in my
Mhm.
opinion. It's an obligation. It's their birthright to demand of you to assist them in making life better. Not because you struggle, they have to struggle. If you have the means to create an environment where they don't struggle, you can teach them as they're growing up. To give them life lessons, show them, the consequences of their actions, consequences of not striving for more, but don't actually put them in a situation simply because you went through it.
And you want to know one thing that I noticed too? The only parents that I see that really do that, they're still not in a stable position themselves.
Mhm.
Yep. That's
Like,
because it does not work. It's this
right,
constant resetting of generation to
right.
prove a point that you cannot point to no success of it working. But you
Yeah,
can point to success on other groups where they give their kids a leg up by
yeah.
removing certain obstacles, like the financial obstacle and the stress of college. You see it working. So why is it we're not pointing to those groups where it's working, and we keep pointing to our group where these things are not working?
Well, and then I don't even want to segment it into groups either because my circle, even if it's a 1%, we've all been the people who've made it. And that's what I'm saying. I haven't seen it work. I haven't seen it not happen when one of us has been in position to be okay, where we guided our children in a way like, oh no, you're gonna struggle. I've never seen that. The only time I've seen that is when that parent is still in struggle mode, when that parent is still trying to figure it out. So they're like, well, I'm getting it out the trenches, you get it out the trenches too. I haven't seen it where even within our social circle, in our culture group, where it's like, hey, I've been okay, but you go live in the projects and figure out how to eat. I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that either. Yeah. Most time, if you come up middle class, you gonna be middle class or be higher. Not often you drop
Right.
that unless something traumatic happens, stuff like that. You're absolutely right on that. And stuff
I mean, what did Jay-Z say? I did that, so hopefully you wouldn't have to go through that.
Right. Fact.
That was the whole point.
Yeah, I got you. Well, fellas, gonna wrap this thing up. I appreciate you. Any final words?
No, I'm all clear. Continue to be great fathers.
That's the plan. Anything you from Antoine DeMella?
No, it was a good conversation with Charles. Nice to meet you. And hopefully we get you back on here again.
Yeah, we teamed up this time.
Yeah, if you disagree with me, be like, all right, no.
You're right.
I'm just kidding.
All right. Talk to y'all later. Peace.